Oh yeah, Batman v Superman, that's what all the kids are talking about. So earlier last month, the nation's wealthiest people finally felt comfortable enough amid the swelling number of COVID deaths to throw themselves a neat little costume party. The Met Gala, an annual fundraising event for the Metropolitan Museum of Art, was held on September 13th, signifying the end of the pandemic and a welcome return to normalcy. I was invited, but I didn't go. You're welcome. Also, it says here the pandemic is not over. Not over at all, in fact. Interesting. But look, those fancy dresses weren't going to buy themselves, you joyless ogres, you f***ing serfs! Bow to your Susian quilt lord and his shadow queen! The prom night for rich people understandably drew its fair share of critics, including noted keymaster of shitty opinions Bill Maher. On an episode of Real Time, the current incarnation of his long-running panel show until he inevitably claims the 9/11 hijackers created Harry Potter or some shit and it gets cancelled again, Maher pointed out the questionable optics of having the glamorous Hollywood elite attend an ostentatious ball in the second year of a global pandemic and strike maskless poses alongside masked event staff, especially when that staff is expected to do things like carry Kelly Cuoco's dress train like a mouse who got turned into a butler by her fairy godmother. Now, I'm literally sacrificing 14 months of my life to the abyss to say this, but that specific statement is actually a good point by Bill Maher. The Met Gala is, on many levels, pretty much the last thing we needed right now. But what wasn't a good point was what Maher had to say about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the representative of New York's 14th District, who attended the event wearing a dress with the phrase "tax the rich" stenciled across the back like something out of the smash hit film Cruella, a movie about a stylish dog assassin. Maher, who never misses an opportunity to say something so obtuse that it somehow transcends stupidity like an idiot Siddhartha, took AOC's wardrobe statement to task on a recent episode of Real Time.
This is something that, the Met Gala attracts lots of crazy outfits, but this is a new thing that people have been doing. They've been wearing, I guess, their message, their life philosophy, tax the rich. I just want to read I had some sets here. Oh, New York City, 65,000, the richest 65,000 New Yorkers out of 8 million people pay 51% of taxes.
And what proportion is that?
I'm just saying, 65,000 out of 8 million pay half.
And their taxes are still too low.
So it's not like we don't tax the rich at all.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, cool shrug after totally missing the point of something, Bill. This, I guess, point he's making is about as stable as a drunk circus bear, with a Gordon Gekko haircut on his first day on the unicycle. Not a stable bear is his point. It's the same intellectually dishonest gotcha thinking behind saying all lives matter as a response to Black Lives Matter. Playground semantics used in the final throes of a dying argument. Because she's not saying we don't tax the rich at all, Bill. Obviously, that's not what she means. She's saying they need to pay more. Because maybe it's a bad thing that the wealthiest people in the history of the world pay roughly the same, if not fewer taxes, as a shift worker struggling to afford rent and healthcare, if they pay any at all. Because I don't know if you know this, but that's a tad bit of a problem in America, Bill. He does know that. He has just always not wanted to pay taxes. Also, remember when the last guy, cut taxes? Did you like that or him? And it's clear that Billiam understands all of this, because after this moment, we get to watch him sadly deflate like an unwanted boner in real time. Hence the name of his show.
There are lots of things we need to amend about the capitalist system. We have crony capitalism in this country. No doubt about it. I'm just saying, you wear tax the rich on your ass. And people are always saying, rich don't pay taxes. They pay some taxes. They pay a big part of the freight already. I'm not saying it shouldn't be more, perhaps, but let's not lie.
Hey, Bill, weird how you mocked AOC's message and then ended up endorsing it by the end of this segment, which actually is pretty darn emblematic of Maher as a political commentator. Sometimes, most times, Bill likes to sort of dance around a controversial point while ultimately not saying much of anything, vaguely contradict in that smug devil's advocate way that no one likes before ultimately just agreeing or standing down after tiring everyone out. It's just so very clear he doesn't even completely believe what he's saying, but HBO pays him millions of dollars a year to be a performative contrarian who, say, criticizes Obamacare for not being literally single-payer, and when he has Bernie Sanders on, criticize him for wanting to pay for healthcare with taxes, and also casually mentions how all we need to do is raise taxes so people's babies don't die. So, you know, what are you gonna do? Not watch his show is what you should do. In case that wasn't clear. Or do. I don't know. I'm not your boss. I'm just your news dad. Bill is, of course, just one of many gotcha ghouls trying to deflect AOC's message by muddling it with accusations of hypocrisy, like lying and saying that she bought a ticket to the gala, or this New York Post article correctly pointing out that the dress's designer actually has a history of not paying taxes, as if that somehow negates the message instead of reinforces it. Because none of this should conclude that AOC is perfect either, or not also part of a game of clapbacks and publicity stunts. And perhaps even this idea of raising awareness of taxing the rich isn't needed so much as actually pushing legislation to tax the rich more, which in fairness AOC does try to do. But ultimately, this act of wearing a dress at a fancy celebrity ball doesn't really do much of anything but feed people like Bill Maher, and the cycle just keeps going until we all run out of water. I mean, not all of us, just the poor. Also,
I think it's incredibly important because when we talk about supporting working families and when we talk about having a fair tax code, oftentimes this conversation is happening among working and middle class people amongst themselves. And I think it's time that we bring all classes into the conversation.
Bring all classes into the conversation, you say? Really, you said? You don't think maybe there's one class of people who, you know, has been at the table long enough? Like, maybe class collaboration isn't the best solution to class conflict when the conflict is coming from the top, and like bringing all classes to the table is a way to sort of dilute what needs to be done. Like maybe if all classes are present, maybe there's one that will sort of, you know, take over the conversation so it's not actually fair. Anyway, I don't know. I guess who gives a shit or whatever. And so let's just stop talking about it. Boom. Hey, thanks for watching that clip. Here's the evergreen end plate to ask you to like and subscribe. It's any day of the year where you are.